Now, the real question is, why do we need knowledge? So why do we need to complete that? And it's at that time that we can enter into this anthropological aspect of what are human beings. When you ask anthropologists, usually, even now, when you ask anthropologists or when you ask scientists, and even like everybody for that matters, most people will tell you that what distinguishes a human being from an animal is the fact that we are more complex beings. They will even specify this sense of complexity, saying that it's their brain. I mean, there is this idea about the brain, like the human brain, that is supposed to be more complex than the brain of an animal. And I don't believe that. What I'm saying is that, I mean, we are right to think that the human brain is now more complex than animal brain, as far as we can say. But what I'm trying to say is that is not what distinguish animals, I mean regular, like average animal, that from human beings. What distinguishes them is the fact that human beings, according to what I just said before in my introduction, are actually complex animals, like frustrated animal, because this feeling of incompleteness is related to the feeling of weakness. You need to feel something up. You need to complete something in the world and to complete something in yourself. So to go beyond yourself, so to go beyond what you look like to go beyond your organism. That's the origin of technology. You need to go beyond because you feel that you are weak. And it's actually true. It's actually true. We are one of the weakest originally animals, not really adapted to our environment. So we are very weak. And so because we are very weak and it's called this feeling will come with there is some hypothesis that this feeling will come from what is called neoteny.
You mean physically weak?
Yeah, physically weak because we were born too early, because some kind of a bad, I mean, a morphology that is not the hip of the woman. So we give birth, human mammifers, they are born too early. So because they are too early, they are too weak in their environment. So the human beings, they have to work in a more complex social way in order to survive. It's not like a horse that is right away efficient in the world. And so it complexifies the social, the way to be, the solidarity. For instance, the solidarity in most mammals is a solidarity between the parents and the kids from generation. But in human beings, it's a solidarity between the uncle, the uncle of the uncle, and the grandfather and the father, even the friend of the father, that could be a godfather, etc., etc. So it broaden and complexify this network of solidarity that become more and more complex to protect the human being that at first is weaker. But this feeling of weakness has created some kind of a frustration, and this frustration, it has created the desire to be more than what it seems, to be more than what we look like. So it created what I call, you see, the desire to be, not only the desire to survive, not only that you have in all biological organisms, but also the desire to live that you have in most mammals. So to improve the condition of survival, we could call that comfort, with minimal techniques that you have also with birds, when they build a nest, and with other animals. But with human beings, there is another desire. It's the desire to be that comes from their complex. And it's what creates the ego. It's what creates this inner speech. They talk to themselves. They say, for instance, when I'm coming to your podcast, I said, I talk to myself, at the second person, like, you have to behave like that. You. What is this you? This you is the other myself that complete myself, that I need to complete, to say something about myself. And step by step, it became, it's related to the necessity to go beyond yourself, to go beyond the appearance, and to start to think about the world and to feel that there is something missing, around. And I think it's really the anthropological origin of science. But to add something else, I think what makes now the specificity of science is the fact that because we feel weaker than the other animals, we feel unadapted, fragile.
Right.
Yes. It's like if you are seeing ourselves as a problem, like we are a problem for ourselves. In Greek, the word problema, it translates like obstacles. Usually, in order to survive, animals, they wait for an obstacle that becomes a problem, because obstacle means problem, actually, in order to avoid it, to overcome it, to go beyond it, to do something about it in a very efficient way. The one that can't do that, they actually die, they don't survive, and that's also part of the process of natural selection, right? But with human beings, because they feel this kind of frustration, this kind of feeling of incompleteness, they project problems like obstacles that actually don't exist yet. So they make problems because they feel they are a problem for themselves. They make problems. And actually the foundation of mathematics, the origin of mathematics, it's even what it means. Mathema in Greek, that means something that you put as a problem a priori. Like you haven't met anything. And you say, how much water do you need to fill this tub, etc.? But it's not in front of you.
Yes.
So you make problems, but it's for the best, the foundation of mathematics, but it's also for the worse, because they create problems where they don't exist, up to the point they can destroy themselves, human beings. They can create beyond themselves, but they can also destroy themselves in the name of this desire to be that is related to the ego. But the very dynamic of science is directly related to that. That's the reason why, when I say that human beings, they make problems, they also invented another kind of problem that is game. So they put constraints, so they create obstacles. What is game, after all? A game is to create an obstacle that does not exist. And when you overcome this obstacle, it could be you are just facing yourself, making an obstacle in front of yourself. It's like a game that you're playing with yourself or with others, with different teams or things like that. And it's very ancient, this way. And when you are doing that, when you are winning, you say, you feel good, like you have accomplished something. It's your ego. It's your desire to be beyond, to be more. If you just, think about something that is more recent. Why did we go to the moon? More exactly, why did we spend, have we spent so much money to go to the moon? Because there is no reason on a survival point of view. There is not even any reason on a, what I call like the comfort point of view, the desire to live better. There is no reason. But we create an obstacle, a problema. Like it's a problem, it's an obstacle, the distance. How can we do that? Why do we go there? There is no reason. It's just to see ourselves because we see ourselves as the problem. You remember the beginning. See ourselves succeeding in going to the moon. So we create an obstacle, the distance between the Earth and the moon. But when we are on the moon and we're able to walk on the moon, we turn and we see a new perspective on the Earth, and we are able even to make some experience in the condition of the moon that we couldn't actually do, we couldn't actually perform on the Earth. That will help us. That will help us to solve problems that will actually come to us, but afterwards, and that we will be able to solve just because we were going to the moon, like with mathematics, like with everything. So the very process of science comes from the fact that, how can I say that? That we are problematic animals. So we are animals that make problems because we are a problem to ourselves, because these neoteny things are the origin of human beings, this feeling of, I will say, weakness. That is the anthropological basis of the foundation of science.
If you enjoyed this toe clipping, then the full video is linked in the description. You should also sign up for Toe Mail, which is again in the description and the pinned comment. You'll receive immediate access to all exclusive updates from the Theories of Everything podcast. It also helps me communicate directly with the core toe community. You'll also receive my top 10 toes. Think of it as the intellectual version of Quentin Tarantino's Obsession.